So our main topic will be about artificial intelligence and how that relates to humans and what is the future of us compared to machines. And I'll be talking about basically what we see most today is not really intelligence like ex machina or like we see in science fiction, is basically smart machines, not conscious machines. So I call it intelligent assistance, IA rather than AI. And most of what we do today is basically based on deep learning, machine learning, quantum computing, but it's not miracle stuff. So I'll talk about what that actually means and why humans will still have work in the future, and how our jobs are changing and what we have to do to keep up with the machines, and those kind of issues, how we can use AI in business.
Intelligent assistance, that's a very interesting view on this topic because there are a lot of big stories about, well, the threats of AI, for example, but it isn't that bad, as I understand from you.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, for the time being, most of the applications are intelligent assistants. So they're helping us do things. So they're fancy software, basically. They're not thinking. Even though machine learning comes close to kind of being able to think, but they still think like a machine, zeros and ones. To think like a human, that's probably 20, 30 years away in terms of the capability. And then it could be quite dangerous for us. So I would agree with Elon Musk, that artificial general intelligence, like, humans are generally intelligent, not narrow intelligent, and machines are very narrow. So you can tell one machine to look at, 500 billion types of oncology reports and they'll find something, but they will not be able to play chess. Yeah, they're very narrow. So I think until they become very broad, it's not really dangerous for us as humans, but it's difficult for jobs. So it's changing the job equation because we have to basically assume that computers have knowledge, that they know stuff.
Yes, this artificial general intelligence, do you think that is a possibility in the future? You say 20, 30 years, it's quite a long way. Will machines be able to do that, or will humans still be on top with?
Technically speaking, I think we will be totally capable of creating such a machine, but we don't really know what defines consciousness or sentience in humans. So we could probably build a machine in 2050, like Ray Kurzweil says, the singularity, that is kind of like us, but it would be completely different in terms of how it works. But it could have an IQ of 1 million. So you'd have a machine that's really intelligent, but it has no emotions, no social, no conscious, no ethics. And there's still a very big difference. So maybe in 50 years, we can build a machine that's emotional in some way. Yeah, probably we can do that. We probably wouldn't want to do that. I think we should stick with the machines that do the work for us, rather than machines that are like us.
This intelligent assistance, if we look at that, the state of affairs right now, what's the most useful purpose of IA, so to speak, at this time?
Well, intelligent assistance really means that the machine is capable of looking at hundreds of millions of data feeds in real time, and it can find patterns that we couldn't find because we don't have enough brain space for that. It can deal with a huge amount of data like Internet of Things. It can make things very efficient, but it will not be able to judge anything or to make a value appreciation or to solve a problem that's too complicated because it's constantly changing. The human mind has a lot of ingenuity, spontaneity, understands emotions, which is superior to machines for now, for quite some time. So what we use the machines for is to do all the routine, the hard work, the monkey work. So we can look at traffic patterns of a trillion data feeds and decide what to do. But we will still need the human to decide if it's worth doing. So I think that is the biggest difference. So as I like to say, anything that's routine, machines will learn. As long as it does not involve any creative decision making or judgment or emotion or understanding, because machines don't really have that. They will eventually learn how to simulate it. So it's very useful for things that are like bookkeeping, accounting, financial advice in the lowest level, driving a car, flying an airplane, checking your email, setting up appointments. It's basically fancy software. Security check, compliance, and even eventually accounting and auditing.
Yeah. And last question about that. You mentioned judgment. Isn't there a danger people are relying too much on the algorithms? They rely too much on the machines and not use their own judgment anymore?
That danger already exists. We rely on TripAdvisor or so to tell us where to go and eat. We always have to make a judgment on whether the machine is likely to be correct or more smart. Usually the machines are not anywhere close as intelligent as we are for now, for the next 20 years. But we can still use the data as long as we have more distance from what they're deciding. So we need to keep the human in the loop for the time being. This is why we still have pilots, because the plane can fly itself completely, but we have a pilot. So I think we're going to have cars that drive themselves, but we still have a driver. In some cases there will be car trains where we don't have a driver, but in many cases we have to decide on how far we want the machine to decide. And that will be the ethical question also. For example, in criminal court or justice or the prison system or unemployment benefits or... So I'm a great believer that we should use the technology for the grunt work, for the monkey work. We should not use it for things that we need to decide on what it actually means. Because computers are very bad at this. It takes us 0.4 seconds to decide what is the right thing. And for a computer, it just decides on some facts that may not be the objective, the whole story behind it.